how warm we're expecting it to get and when we can see our next chance for rain.
And it's Severe Weather Awareness Week. We're bringing you the latest on how to prepare for severe weather, especially as we head into the spring season.
Live on your side, First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And Tania back with us here for First Alert Weather Extra. Tania, no complaints on these temperatures out there.
Oh no, the afternoons are quite perfect, but we do have a little rain this week. And some clouds.
Yeah, some clouds, some rain, but hey, I'll take that over what
we
just
don't have to
through.
have the gloves, the scarves, the hat, and all the winter stuff this week, so that's cool.
I know. Get out there, soak in some of that sunshine today. Hopefully we're able to get out there. It was a beautiful day, and I've got to show you this. Weather watchers checking in. Look at these temperatures. What a turnaround by far. The warmest day we have had so far this year. 76 degrees, a high temperature from John Talbot in Concord, 77 in Columbiana, 79 in Oakman. Look at Oxford there, almost 80 degrees from Jerry Peak. And I checked in our Birmingham location at the airport, had 76. Same for Tuscaloosa and Anniston today. Now, we didn't quite make it to record levels, but this is one of the next big things. I want to show you, Matt put this together, and this is a very good map here. It shows the record high temperatures compared to the forecast high temperatures for the rest of this week. And notice we're forecasting 75 tomorrow, the record 77. Don't know if we'll quite get there. You can see it's going to be close on Wednesday. We're showing 78 for a forecast high. 76 degrees for the record, and the same as we go into Thursday and Friday. So the temperatures out there are just close to record levels for this week. And the temperatures, one thing you'll notice in our extended forecast is we do actually cool off a little bit into early next week, but it's still above average as far as the temperatures go. So above average temperatures, near record warmth, that's going to be one of the big stories. And as Tania talked about, some more clouds will be moving in over the next couple of days, mixing in with that sunshine. Maybe a couple of sprinkles out there tomorrow, but the better chance for showers, and it's not a lot of rain. Could see some scattered showers Wednesday and perhaps into Thursday morning, and that's one of the reasons we expect a higher rain chance towards the end of the week. It would be right there in that general time frame, and we're seeing a system that's stalled out to the north. Here's a look at some of the model data, and you can see those clouds moving in tomorrow, but notice most of the wet weather is actually to the north. There's 7 a.m. on Wednesday, maybe a couple sprinkles, but you see right there's what we're watching. Maybe some of these scattered showers and storms passing by. And if you recall, last week we were talking about an axis of heavier rain that would set up in here. There's going to be a boundary to the north that divides all the warm weather from the cold weather, and that boundary is going to be somewhat stationary. It looks like over the next couple of weeks here, we'll probably slide south again by Sunday and bring a chance for some rain, maybe cool things down a little bit. But the possibilities there as we go into next week, we could see that set up over the region and provide a period of off and on rain. So we're watching next week closely, maybe some storms in that forecast. So a lot we're keeping our eye on, and we'll have the weather extra coming up.
Thanks, Wes. And speaking about the warmth and the 70-degree temperatures that we're experiencing this week, many of you are probably like, did spring come early? Well, it has not. We are actually 45 days away until the first day of spring. We have a little bit over a month, so enjoy these 70s, but that doesn't mean we can't experience some cold blast air building in at some point between now and as we kick off the spring season. So don't put that heavy coat away just yet, but this week is also Severe Weather Awareness Week as we head into the spring season, and with the courtesy of the National Weather Service in Birmingham, it's a week full of how to prepare for severe weather, especially as we head into the spring in just a few short weeks. Every day this week we'll be touching on different topics ranging from alerts to how to recover after severe weather events, and meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now as he breaks down the types of hazards we can see here in Alabama and the best ways you can stay safe.
Well, it's February, which means we're starting Severe Weather Awareness Week. And the reason why we have this every year is just to educate those on the impacts that we can see here locally. Of course, we can get severe weather at any point throughout the year, but that severe weather season really ramps up as we get into the spring months of March, April, and May. So for today, we're going to be focusing on weather hazards. And of course, one thing that you think of when you think of thunderstorms is, of course, lightning, like this particular photo here that we captured right here on top of Red Mountain. And lightning with any storm can always be an issue. Obviously, if you're at any outdoor events, if there's lightning nearby, they're going to have delays. But just remember, lightning can strike pretty far away. If you hear thunder, you're close enough to get struck. So We always tell you when it comes to those hazards, when thunder roars, go indoors. On top of lightning, when we think of storms as well, they can also produce very heavy rainfall and flash flooding. And of course, you don't want to be caught like these two cars are, just getting completely swamped over with all that water from all the heavy rainfall. So heavy rain and flooding, definitely a big concern. Doesn't take a lot of fast moving water to knock you over or even get trapped into a vehicle. So we always warn you ahead of time. Sometimes if we think there's a flood threat, there will be a flash flood watch or an aerial flood watch. And so flooding is, of course, a big hazard for us when it comes to the spring and summer months. And then, of course, with severe weather, we're also focusing on hail. Usually when it gets really hot outside, lots of humidity, these storms can produce a lot of updrafts and downdrafts, produce large hail that could fall from the sky. And, of course, that can damage your roof, your car. Obviously scary when you start seeing something like that. And then, of course, when you think severe weather, I think a lot of you immediately think of this, a tornado. And of course, tornadoes are possible at any point throughout the year for us in central Alabama. But usually when we mention tornado season, we kind of mention two kind of areas where we see severe weather, spring months, and then of course the late fall and early winter. So we really start to see the tornado threat in the southeast ramp up as we go into February, March, April, and into May. So we just want to give you an idea. Severe storms, of course, are issued from the National Weather Service. So what makes a storm severe? Well, if you get a severe thunderstorm warning, that means they're indicating winds gusting up to 58 miles per hour or greater. So if they think winds are around 58 plus, you're going to have a severe thunderstorm warning. Perhaps the winds aren't that strong. However, the storm is producing a large hail, an inch or greater than a quarter. They'll issue a severe thunderstorm warning for that. They'll also issue it not only based off radar, but if they get a report from a storm spotter of lots of damage from a particular storm, they'll issue that warning as well. And it's also very important to note when it comes to these hazards that any severe storm that is issued can produce tornadoes. Although if they're issuing a severe thunderstorm warning, that's the main focus would be wind and hail, but you can never rule out a brief tornado. And just remember, when it comes to damaging winds and tornadoes, they can produce similar damage, and we just want to make sure you stay safe. So today's day one about the hazards. Throughout the week, we'll educate you about ways to protect yourself as we get ready for the spring severe weather season.
Thanks, Matt. And we always encourage you all to have multiple ways to receive weather information. So here are some tips to prepare for severe weather. You want to make sure you have a NOAA weather radio, the First Alert Weather app, charge mobile device, and secure those loose outdoor objects. We cannot stress that enough. It's super important for you to make sure you're checking in for forecast updates more diligently as we head into the spring season, just so you can be prepared for any type of weather event. And as always, you can use the code on your screen to download the First Alert Weather app. You'll be able to get alerts from your exact location and stay up to date on the latest forecasts. We'll continue to keep you updated on more severe weather safety tips as we go throughout the week. Well, in 30 seconds, we're going to talk about the record heat for this week and take you around the globe to extreme weather events that happened over the weekend. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra. We'll be right back.
Well, today I know we had quite the warm up across the area, but still sweater weather early in the day tomorrow. You can see 50s and a few 40s showing up places like Talladega and Ashland early in the day, but we'll have more clouds moving in. Of course, temperatures well above freezing, but still a nice warm up into the 70s later in the day. You can see by 2 o'clock showing 73 degrees. We went with a forecast high close to 75, and you can see a lighter breeze tomorrow out of the southwest there early in the day. High temperatures, though, we're going to hold on to these 70-degree temperatures for several more days, nearing record levels. We'll talk about when to expect the next chance for rain coming up.
And thank you, Wes. Now it's time to talk about our record temperatures for this week. And we briefly showed you this, but now I want to break down what those records could possibly be, or what we could possibly beat for later this week. This one's showing us February 4th. These are our last recorded high temperatures for this time of the year. Back in 1927, Birmingham had a record high of 77 degrees. Now the big question is, can we reach that tomorrow? Tuscaloosa 79, 1957, and in Anniston 78, last recorded 1957. Looks like 1957 was a very warm year. Record highs February 5th. Can we be 76 degrees on Wednesday? I believe that's Wednesday. Temperatures reached 76 in 1927, 81 in 2008, 74 degrees in 2019 in Anniston. And in Birmingham, February 6th record, last recorded 2019. 2019, 80 degrees in Tuscaloosa and 76 in 1999. So these are our high temperatures for this week. Can we beat any of those records? We'll let you know, and you'll find out more here on First Alert Weather Extra. But even though we're seeing record high temps here, California, though, they're seeing the complete opposite. The Central Valley seeing winter weather over the weekend, with many welcoming the rain and snow, even if it brought dangerous road conditions. Bray Halbead is going to give us more on the details.
Winter weather making a return to Northern California. Down in the valley and foothills, just rain soaking the ground and making for slick roads. Up in the Sierra, a fresh coat of snow forcing chain controls for drivers over the summit. But that's not stopping everyone.
Okay, what do you guys have planned up there?
Snowboarding.
These three are heading up to Incline Village and ready to hit the slopes. And they're not coming from far, just Sonoma County. But their first stop, the essentials for a safe trip.
Any traffic at all? Anything like
Traffic,
that?
yeah.
Traffic's just been moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like stop traffic, but we're getting chains.
Others just topping off the tank. Four-wheel drive means no chains needed for people like Michelle Sharp and her family.
Yeah, we're prepared. We have granola bars and water and blankets just in case something happens, but just pray that we make it.
Nearly 4 weeks without rain or snow means a break for Caltrans to make critical repairs.
Basically what they do during the dry weather is they clean out, culverts and drains and make sure that they're, all functioning properly. So they do that in the valley and in the mountains as well. They fix guardrails, fences.
More than 600 crew members on standby, ready for 12-hour shifts around the clock. 140 snow removal machines on I-80 and another 60 on Highway 50.
So yeah, we're ready to go. It's kind of nice to get some, it's kind of exciting to get some weather like this coming in.
And Michelle Sharp feeling the same way.
Absolutely, we definitely need it.
And taking you around the world now to Australia, where intense rainfall across the northeast brought dangerous flash floods. It was caused by two low pressure systems, which brought up to 23 inches of rain in just 24 hours. Residents in low-lying coastal suburbs and towns were urged to evacuate immediately. There's been one fatality as a result of this event. And hundreds of people board a ferry leaving the Greek island of Santorini today out of concern for a potential earthquake. This comes after more than 200 undersea earthquakes occurred across the region over the past 3 days. Authorities closing schools and deploying emergency crews. Precautions were also ordered for several nearby islands. Experts say even though the quakes are not linked to the island's volcano, it is still a cause for concern. Government officials met with scientists over the last few days to assess the situation. Well, still ahead on First Weather Extra, we're going to talk about whether or not you need to keep that umbrella on standby this week and take you to the north, where North Carolina is dealing with relief, and much needed relief is needed to help those impacted by Hurricane Helene. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. 68 degrees out there right now, and the temperatures overnight will cool off into the 50s, so it is going to be chilly early in the day. But the good news is we'll see another turnaround in those temperatures. I don't believe, well, the Tuscaloosa observation and back to the west still showing some 60s, close to 70 there. I still think tonight, even for West Alabama, we'll see those lows down into the 50s as we work through the data, but also some clouds move in overnight. That's going to slow the cooling process. Notice 6 o'clock in the morning, we're seeing 50s and 40s, well above freezing, and we take it on into Tuesday afternoon around 3 o'clock, and you can see more clouds. Not a lot as far as rainfall, but there could be a sprinkle or two. Just can't totally rule that out. But if it looks like it's about to rain where you are tomorrow, just check the First Alert Weather app. Most likely dry conditions, but it does look like rain chances mostly hold off here until we get into Wednesday. That's the next chance for wet weather. We're going to see an axis that kind of divides the unseasonably warm weather we're dealing with from the colder air to the north, and that's where we'll see most of these waves transition east across the southeastern U.S. with most of the rain you can see moving across Tennessee. Maybe a couple of showers for us by Wednesday into Thursday, but the heaviest of the rain is going to stay to the north, perhaps a thunderstorm. Notice by Friday, still not a lot of rain for us. Most of it staying off to the north as we go into the weekend, but Sunday into Monday, that starts to slide south. That front starts to waver south. I think that could bring a few showers around and also lower those temperatures instead of highs in the 70s, maybe some upper 50s by early next week, which is actually still above the average high for this time of the year. And then by the middle of next week, could we start to see more waves of rain transition across the state? Could we see more of a rainy setup, or will we warm up and have a chance for some storms? That's what we're going to be watching there in the long range forecast. If we look at some of the data here, we are seeing that storm energy, storm fuel starting to ramp up into next week, so that certainly could feed some heavier rain possibilities. Again, this is way out there around February 12th and 13th, but as when you check in with Tania here, we're going to be talking about beyond the 7-day forecast. It's just one of those things that we are watching in that long range. As we go to the 10-day outlook, you can see into Thursday, again, we have the first alert for some scattered areas of rain. It's not a total washout. I certainly wouldn't cancel any big plans Wednesday and Thursday. Just know there could be a passing shower, greater chance for areas to the north. Temperatures stay in the 70s going into Sunday, 70 degrees. And again, you can see a little bit cooler into early next week, and we'll be watching to see what happens with those rain chances. And meteorologist Tania Michelle joining me again here as we talk more about beyond the 7-day forecast. And Tania, you and I were going through the numbers here and talking about the forecast earlier. And one thing we discussed was some of the models were trending a little bit cooler for early next week, but it's still above average.
Yes, yeah. So we're still not seeing any freezing temperatures, and we're staying above freezing, at least for now. So as I take you all beyond the 7-day, still could look like above average conditions for us here across central Alabama. Here's our temperature outlook showing February the 11th through February 17th. Much of the U.S. is going to be dealing with the opposite. We're talking about below average temps, but that really doesn't include much of us here across central Alabama. We're either right near average or slightly above it, and it looks like parts of far northwest Alabama, the state, could be seeing below average conditions, but it's fairly close. As far as precipitation, much of the U.S. really going to be dealing with more rainfall than usual as we bring in February the 11th through February the 17th, and that includes us here across central Alabama. And when we talked about more rain than usual, let me break down those rain chances because it does look a little wet and a little bit more unsettled throughout the month of February. Here we are Wednesday. This is February the 12th, seeing some showers across the area. Our next potent system looks like it could be around Wednesday, Thursday time frame, but where another front moves through, we could possibly see some stormy conditions, maybe a severe storm. That's questionable, but the good news is for your Valentine's Day, I just briefly went through it, it looks dry, so there's not much to say about that. So that's good for now, but we could see some rain returning February the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, so that's the weekend of Valentine's. So just keep that in mind if you're not planning on doing anything on Valentine's Day, Friday the 14th, the 15th, you might catch some rain, and that could continue into your Saturday night, possibly some rain and some heavier rainfall moving into the early morning Sunday, that Sunday, which is February the 16th. But we should be drying out by February the 17th as we look beyond the 7-day. That's what I'm tracking for right now. We'll continue to give you updates right here, Monday through Friday on Weather Extra. But help continues across North Carolina as cleanup continues after Hurricane Helene. One woman turning her backyard into a distribution center, providing meals and other assistance to those in her community. Grace has the story.
A small sign in the front yard of this Mitchell County home with 3 simple words: Rising Light Relief started out with me just wanting to feed and take care of my neighbors.
At the core of it, Alyssa Vigneault is just that.
Generally, we'll have a team in the house preparing food, getting that ready to go out to people. We'll be pulling supplies to send with the food for elders.
A friendly neighbor, turning our community's needs into her mission.
Some of my best friends are in their 70s and 80s, and I knew they were cut off for weeks.
More than 4 months after Helene, the distribution center Alyssa runs out of her backyard is staying busy.
There's stigma, there's fear, there's even shame in asking for help. And I think when I say, you know, I was working a good job in Asheville and, you know, I have minor property damage, but I still need help. I think it just personalizes.
Alyssa stays busy too, coordinating volunteers and comforting those who come for supplies.
And I'll tell you more of that story in a second. I'm just gonna get her set up. Hey, honey, it's too cold for me to leave you out here.
For this woman, a welcoming smile and helping hand make all the difference.
These people can go through so much, you know, to allow people to come into their home. But it's very amazing. They're angels in my book. We couldn't have made it without them.
Rising Light Relief also partners with World Central Kitchen to deliver hot meals in the surrounding area. That effort also started with humble beginnings in the days after the storm.
And so I asked one of my friends to start preparing some meals, and she would make a big pot of chicken stew, and I would put it in the back of the Subaru with to-go boxes and just drive around to neighbors who had lost so much and say, hey man, do you need a hot meal?
Alyssa stays active on the nonprofit's Facebook page, keeping her followers updated and trying not to get discouraged.
We definitely saw donor fatigue in the early part of the year and volunteer fatigue as well.
But she's still counting her blessings and moving forward with the mission.
I cannot even believe how blessed I've been in all of this, and it's the only reason I'm able to make it work is because I forget to ask for help and other people show up and say, we want to help the helper.